Welcome to Runes of Silvertree. This is Silvertree here, and I feel so happy and grateful that you've checked into the fourth episode of I believe, the third season of the Red Serpent. And yes, there's been tons of energy. If you hear, just a side note, if you hear a lot of rustling in the background, please excuse it. There's some cooking going on. So let's get started, shall we? So, again, there's a lot of energy this week regarding the solar eclipse during the new moon, portal, and this week. And so today, this Saturday, is the first day of the space of neutrality. Typically it's about 9 days. So it's a nice stretch of time where we can take a breath of just relief. We can inhale and exhale. The dust has settled, right? It's beginning to settle. As we prepare for that full moon energy to open up. But regarding this eclipse, there's a lot of closures. There's a lot of endings to certain things. And, when it comes to expanding and growing, I call it more of like a growing pains, if you will, and it can be quite the shocker for most if you're in the space of resistance, if you're in the space of attachment. Both of these things are tough frequencies to be in if you are currently very, very much in resistance to change and attached to things that are holding you back. Okay, we're ever evolving. I have 3 sayings: expanding your consciousness, evolving your human being, and embracing supreme loving guidance. And so with today's reading, let's just see how the message unfolds. And so again, may this message find you well and whole and be of some kind of service for you as you are catching your breath after such a very intense energy shift in the month of October and in this week. So here we go. Okay, wow. Ooh, all right. Very interesting. Okay. And also, may this message assist you in preparing for the full moon energies as well. Again, my messages aren't really specific to any certain, astrological or lunar shifts and changes. However, I notice that it can always be a bit helpful around the new moon and full moon energies, because again, we are ruled by our emotions. We're emotional, sentient beings, and so having these messages can be of great support when you're needing clarification on certain things that are taking place in the human collective. Again, this isn't geared towards anyone specifically. This is just a reading of an overall interpretation of what's taking place for the human collective. So you could read one of my messages from last month, by next summer, and you can tie it in. But I do believe that we must tune into the seasons that we're a part of, because everything's interconnected. Okay, so again, this message is geared towards the human collective. Let's see what's taking place. So we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. We have that 9 energy in the womb of all creation, the mother of all wombs. Okay, we have that 9 energy, and that 9 energy is an ending. It is symbolic of closure. We can actually say that this is part of the eclipse. In my research, I found that when we have these major solar eclipses, And we tend to have 3 to 4 a year. So 3 to 4 solar eclipses a year, where it's very symbolic for endings, right? And so that 9 energy is that last, the ending, closure. So it's very, very synchronistic that's aligning with the energies that we're feeling right now as a collective. So for how I read my runes, as always, I read them 3 different ways. So you'll have the runes that are facing downward. The runes that are facing down are energies that are unknown to everyone, but are actively manipulating and influencing us. Then you have runes that are right side up. So that these are energies that are known to some or unknown to some, okay? And then you have ones that are face up, which are energies that we're facing, our day-to-day challenges, or the day-to-day daily things that we face every day. But we don't have runes that are facing up in this reading. We only have, 5 energies that are right side up. 5 is that number that represents transformation and active change. So things that are in movement. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is the number that represents stability. It's very masculine. It's a very balanced energy. And we have 4 of our runes that are facing down. Okay, so let's see what the energies are, and let's just see what's going on with the right side. So energies that are unknown to some, or only known to a few. So some of us are very aware of these subtle energies. Others of us, we're just kind of like not really paying attention to it if it's not in front of us, if it's not our problem per se. So first off, I see here, we have this rune. Okay, it is, what am I getting here? I'm getting split energies. So you see 1, 2, 3, the 3 lines. So I'm getting very split in an unstable energy. I call this my headless man. Okay, a body with no head. That means a body with no identity, with no mind. Okay, and that could be a good thing, or it could be a very dark thing, because we must acknowledge that we all have ego. We must acknowledge that we all have this thing, this pain body, if you will, to get through and navigate life. We can't rid of the ego, because if you rid of the ego, then you put yourself in a very, very dangerous spot where you can be manipulated. You have no say over your persona. You have no say over your likes or dislikes. It's like you're easily led to do things that may not be in alignment of your truth. Okay, so let's see what about manipulation. So this is the rune that is symbolic of alchemy and of manipulating the energies, okay? And you see the 5 dots there, so that's very alchemical. It's very symbolic of that earth, wind, fire, water, ether energy, and being able to manipulate, but it's very, very close to the headless man. So something is being, could be being misled, or we're being called to tune into our energies, be masters of our energy. One thing I've noticed that we'll beg, and we'll try to beg another person to be a certain way, or we'll say this person isn't doing their job. They're not doing this. They're not doing that. It's all about they. We, again, externalize our power a lot of the time. But the secret to manipulating energy, or a form of magic, is to manipulate the energies within yourself. Okay, and that's very hard to do if you have, it's very tricky, this headless man, because we're at that weird dichotomy where you need ego, but then if you have too much ego, you are blindsided and you have limited perception. If you don't have ego, then you have no control or no say in your life. So it's like expanding your consciousness, expanding your awareness of the entity called the ego, and placing it where it needs to be, and not being controlled by the voice or voices, okay, in your head, not being manipulated. See here, Okay, let's see what's our third rune here. Oh, and then we have the square energy. Oh, wow. Whew. Okay, that 4 energy, like I mentioned right at the beginning of this reading, the 4 energy, this could be stability, or this could be a block, or this could be a narrative. Okay, because a narrative, what is a narrative? A narrative is a story. Where do we place our stories? We usually place our stories on a squarish rectangular page, right? When you see a book, it's very masculine. Books are very masculine. It's very full of masculine energy. Masculine energy masters the intellect, the left brain, the analysis, the study, the need to write and record history, his story. It's very, very masculine. And so with feminine storylines, they're very circular. They don't need to be written down. They're usually felt. They're usually experienced. With this, in order to gain knowledge, you must study. So I see books here. Okay, and that's okay. This has nothing to do with like gender roles per se, because we all have certain aspects, but I'm feeling masculine energy in this reading. Even though the overall runes we have is 9, it's like a beginning of the true student, the true adept, a person that is beginning to understand that they must study in order to be a master, and they must be the master of themselves. And this takes, yes, externalizing some energy to study what's within. Okay, let's pick up another rune here, and then we have the strength rune, or my broken arrow. Okay, the broken arrow. So you have the energy of 3 yet again. It's unstable energy, or it can be someone that's being pulled mentally one way or the other, but they're strong and centered within themselves, and they're standing very strong in who they are, because they know, they have the knowledge, they've acquired the intellect, they've studied. See, back to the square energy, that 4 energy, they've acquired the knowledge to know who they are, so they're not being pulled left or right. Okay, it's almost like someone is studying energies, someone is studying different narratives, and then they're discovering the truth. It's almost like, I think of this because I went on a walk before doing this reading, and I was thinking to myself, like, it's almost like love. Like, everyone wants to be in love, right? In the New Age community, you hear light and love, love and light. And then people who are on the more like left-handed path, they're very like, oh, doom and gloom and evil and everything's bad. And I'm a truth seeker. I don't want to chase after rainbows and butterflies, and I don't want to go down the path of doom and gloom and everything is dark and the world is evil. It's about what is the truth? What is the truth in this? And that's what I see with this rune here. I see the truth standing very firm, and then I see like that left energy pulling, trying to pull your mind one way and trying to pull the other. This rune stands for the element of wind, of air, and air represents the mind, thoughts, thinking. We cannot see our thoughts, right? We normally can't see our thoughts. All right. They don't materialize in the physical form. Okay. And, but it's left or right. Like it's almost like I'm getting an impression of like the news, think of this, like CNN and Fox News. So CNN's pulling you one way, and then Fox News is pulling you the other way. But then there's you standing strong in your own personal beliefs and using the power of the left brain, of the power of intellect, using the mind for what it was manifested to be used for. And that's to analyze, and that's to study, right? And discovering your own truth. Don't chase rainbows and butterflies. That's what I'm getting. And don't get sucked down the doom and gloom and the evils of the world and everything is dark and heavy, because that's not all true either. You have to be the person that practices being in the space of neutrality. That is key when it comes to the overall message in this. Okay, I kind of fell off there. Oh, and then we have the serpent energy. All right, we're in that red, and you see this spiral. Okay, this is representative of the Kundalini. And we can spiral down or spiral up, ascending, descending. Sometimes we get caught up in the, I'm part of the ascension. I'm ascending. Just know that the higher you fly, the harder you will fall, and the farther you will fall. So again, be aware of chasing pleasures and comforts, and be aware of falling down the spiral of doom and gloom. Don't get caught up either way. Just stand in truth. Ask yourself, what is true? And I think another little secret that can help you with this, my dear truth seekers out there, is presence. Remain present, because you can get very, very ungrounded and egotistical and very, like, taken over and possessed by the pain body. Okay, shout out to Eckhart Tolle. But that you can get possessed by the pain body, and it distracts you. It can be very, very distracting. And the serpent energy is when dealing with the shadow aspect of the serpent medicine, it's very, very powerful. The serpent energy is very powerful and should not be played around with. Okay, as a student of the serpent energy, I personally I say this with all caution, because the serpent energy can be very tricky. Okay, it's that red serpent energy is very, very, it has to do with that fire energy, and how we've always been taught, don't play with fire. You respect fire. All right, you should respect all the elements, as you should respect their true nature. Just like you need to be careful in water when you're wading in the water. Don't go off to the deep end if you can't swim, and then don't jump into shallow water from like a 30-foot cliff. Okay, because you'll risk breaking your neck, right? And ending up like the headless man here, right? So you, as a student, study. This is the time to study. All right, I think I got all of the right side up runes. I did. Okay. So again, the elements I'm seeing here, I see air, I see a lot of wind energy here, I see earth energy here. I see the ether. Okay, this is a rune of magic, of energy manipulation, of the alchemist. The alchemist is the master. Okay, so that's the spirit realm. And then I see, wind energy again. And the square energy, given that this is symbolic of books and intellect, can also be the wind, because I'm pairing it with this headless man, right? Kind of like a square head. All right, and then we have fire energy. All right, the Kundalini, the red serpent energy here. So fire and wind, a lot of wind here. Okay, so moving right along. Let's look and pay attention to the runes that are facing downward. Now, the runes that are facing down are energies that are quietly and influencing us in very, very subtle ways, and they're unknown to the human collective. So let's take a look. The first one here. Oh, again, okay. I'm getting fire, water, dance. Fire, water, dance. All right. To those of you that have a lot of fire and water in your personality, I send love to you, because I do too. And it can be quite intense. People that have a lot of fire and a lot of water, they need a lot of movement. There's a lot of emotions, energy in motion. And that fire, water, that fire energy can kind of burn you, right? It can burn you a little bit. It can burn other people too. And so, be aware of how you're coming off to other people. go within yourself and ask yourself, where is my fire energy within myself overactive or underactive? Do you find yourself lethargic, lazy, too scared to say what you need to say? Do you find yourself very angry, bitter, resentful? You're snapping at people really, really easy. You lose your temper. Check yourself. This is the season to check in and tune into the red serpent, to tune into the element of fire. Where can you be a little bit soft and gentle? Like, think of a fireplace, you know? And if and if you're in the space of a forest fire, where your energy is like kind of like that, like you get that image of a forest fire, that means you're doing too much. Something's overactive. And if you see and feel that your fire energy is like a dull flame, like, you know, that blue flame that you see on the candle that's pretty much done for, it's served its purpose, and you see that little tiny blue flame, that means you don't have enough of that creative life force energy flowing and going to places where it should. It's almost like you're depleted. And when your creative life force energy is depleted, that's very, very dangerous, and that can lead to depression. And when you have too much fire energy, the illnesses that begin to, or diseases that begin to manifest as inflammation. Prolonged inflammation can turn into a calcification of cells that are dying, which turns into tumors or cancer over time, for long periods of time. So be aware. Ask yourself where you stand with your fire energy. And that fire and water, they cancel each other out. Okay? They really do. Like that water, you pour that water on that flame, and then that's it. Or you can boil water. Okay? So again, ask yourself what the relationship between the your water fire energies at this time this year. Because again, the 2022, that's at 6 energy, and then we're moving towards a 7 for next year, the 2023. Okay, so again, we're in a very feminine year. This year is very, it's a lot more, I don't know, it's more I feel just it's tame. It's less chaotic. It's less chaotic. 7, I think next year's going to be very, very interesting. It's going to be interesting to observe and to witness and to experience. All right, moving on. So we're going to keep that one up. Okay, how about this one? Oh, the serpent's eye. Okay, so the serpent's eye. Again, that energy I'm getting is fire energy. Okay? It's also the energy of meditation, the inner eye, the third eye, vision. It can also be very symbolic or connected to the element of wind, mastering meditations. Okay, mastering, observing. When you're observing something, you're looking at it. You're looking at the detail. Look at the details of your life and ask yourself. I would say pay attention to the details. The truth is in the details. Ooh, okay, wow. The truth is in the details. I can recall saying the word truth at the very beginning of this reading. The truth is in the details. Pay attention to the details, whatever that may be. Your finances, your relationships, your goals, your self-development or lack thereof. Pay attention to the details. I can't stress that enough. Okay? And that, again, it's tying to that fire element and that wind element. Next, we have the man. We have that 5 energy. Look at him. He's standing there. So this is very interesting. Okay? Because when you have the human being, this is the rune that stands for the human. All right? Of a human form. And then we have the headless man. So you have a headless man, doesn't know what to do, or lack of identity, lack of a head, egoless, okay? Someone who has no control over their body, okay? And then you have the man flipped over, okay, in secret. So there's some form of manipulation when it comes to physical reality. All right. And the element that I get here is the earth. I'm feeling very earthy with this one. Very, very earthy. Okay, I'm interested in where the placement of the man, the human being goes. Okay, and our last but not least, we have the womb. The womb. And the womb is that fire energy. Okay, the womb is in the shape of the upside down triangle. It's very triangular. All right. So the womb, man. Ooh. Oh, wow. Okay, that's a connection. We have the womb, man, the woman. We have the feminine energy at the center in secret. So we have paying attention to the truth. Seek the truth. Seek the truth. You will find the truth in the details. Then you have that fire, water relationship. And then you have the womb and the man. You have the womb and the man. And also, let's take a look at the headless man. This can also represent the Y. The Y is the XY chromosome, or it looks like a phallus. Okay? So it's this interesting dance between the intellect and then the inner intellect of the womb and the intellect of the mind, in combining the two. We have the relationship between the fire and the water. So there's this very dualistic type of energy with this reading. All right, so that is the reading for today. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to name this or title it, but I hope you found something useful in this. I found it quite interesting. But yes, I do see a lot of, it just feels very, very masculine and very intellectual. And so studying the alchemy in you, that I feel very, very strongly. And it seems like it's like a balanced energy in a way. It's like the womb and the man, like the womb and the womb man, but it's the woman and the man, the masculine and the feminine, the yin and the yang. Like, be balanced. Like, as I've mentioned before, it's almost like you want to be the observer, the ultimate observer. You want to be the witness. You want to be the student that studies the light and the dark without getting lost in the storyline. Let's get back to that square energy, that narrative. So with that, may this message find you well and whole. If you have any comments or share your personal observations in the comments below of the what you're getting from this reading and how it ties into your present moment when you do read this. And yes, I look forward to connecting with you all. Thank you so much for tuning in to Runes of Silvertree. I will see you next episode for sure. And may this message help you process the energies to come for the full moon in November. Take care. Thank you so much. Wholeness.